So many women I talk to on my clarity calls. Hey, Diane, nice to see you. Something has taken them off track. Sometimes it's the boss changing. Sometimes you have a great champion of a boss, a wonderful boss, and she'll leave, and all of a sudden, bad boss syndrome. I just had a woman in my workshop at the end of last year, had a great boss for 10 years. He died of a stroke. And the final 2 years for her at that company were nothing short of a nervous breakdown every day. Now, could she have handled things differently? Maybe. Could things have gotten better had she had professional coaching and support system, that sort of thing? Perhaps. But by the time we started working together, her best pathway was out. And so we're going to talk about some of these things. When do you know that your best pathway is out? When do you know how to go up or down or backwards? Or what do you do when you're handed a pile of crap in your career? How do you navigate that? I'm going to talk today about some of my personal career missteps and what I did to navigate them. And you know what? I may talk about the big, the bad, and the ugly because that's what it is. And so many people I have worked with now over the years have had similar career crises, and coming back from them is not that easy. And so let's pick it up from there, okay? Let's just dive right into this topic. And hello, ladies. Hello, Debbie and Diane. Diane, I still got to introduce you to that kick-ass lady in my workshop. So I want to do that. Matter of fact, I'm going to write that freaking down. All right? 1 second, ladies. I need to write myself a note. Where's my book? Here it is. I'm going to write myself a note. I gotta connect to ladies, my kick-ass ladies. We're just going to be live and be doing our own thing. Connect Diane and Leslie. All right, I'm going to do that Texas connection. Make two ladies super happy to know each other. Awesome. So, career misstep. And Diane, the lady I'm going to be introducing to you, who's in my workshop right now, she got kapowie 8 months ago. And now it's like, how do we reinvent? How do we step back up? How do we get ourselves back at a higher level? Many women I work with, when they have had, hello, Leslie McLaren Barron, when most women who I've worked with have had a career misstep, typically the next step is backwards, down, backwards, and talk about adding insult to injury. Not only losing your job, but then the next job is 20 or 30,000 less, and it's a lower grade, and you feel like you're playing with the peons. It's not fun. It's simply not fun. I'll tell you, each time I lost my job in my career, there was basically a different transitional situation. I learned as I went along to do certain things that were really, really helpful. So let's talk about that. The first job I lost was when I was a young cardiac rehab nurse. And the doctor running the center, not the owner, but the doctor running the center, got upset that there was a company taking money from his services and his patients that he wanted in his pockets. Hi, Bonnie Smith. How are you? So this doctor basically decided to close the center that this company owned. And the company, I went for training, and they had manuals and structure and stuff to do and how to do things the right way. And I loved it. Because I love that kind of structure and making sure the rules are written, everyone's on the same page. But he didn't like the company taking money. And so he closed the center down, and he said to me, don't worry, I'm going to hire you after I sort this out. I'm going to reopen it as my center, and I'm going to hire you because you're great, and I love how you do your work. Well, I was probably making, I don't know, $38,000, $40,000. And I was paying my bills, but without the money coming in every other week, every month, I'm not paying my bills so quick. So first month, I kind of scraped by. I had enough in my savings to kind of deal. Second month, not feeling very good. I remember literally counting my pennies and deciding whether I was going to get Campbell's stew at the grocery store or something else. And I decided to get Campbell's stew, and I made it last as long as possible. Probably was strategizing, having dinners at friends' houses and that sort of thing. I was literally on the verge of not having enough for groceries. So he calls back and he says, we're ready to start up, but it's going to be a couple of weeks. And I said to him, I don't have a couple of weeks. I got to get another job. And if this isn't going to come through like today, now, like by Monday, I can't wait. So he hired me early at a little bit of a lower salary. So when we start up, I'll take you up to this salary. Okay, so that's what we did. That was good. That was fine. Now, did I make a mistake waiting? Could I have made more money doing something else, moving on, not waiting for him? Possibly. I was probably 24 or something like that. I was very young in my career. And I thought it was the best job ever. I was Monday through Friday working with cardiac patients, teaching meditation. In the 80s, I was teaching meditation, stress management, proper eating, exercise, lecturing on stuff. I was like having a lot of fun. Then my career progressed, and I started working for a company that actually had these centers all over Western Pennsylvania. And I became a center director for them. And we were able to get the contract to manage that center. So that doctor liked me a lot and said, as long as you're here overseeing things, you can hire a nurse to run the different classes, but I want you around. No problem. So I was able to get a contract. I worked for this company. We had different contracts, starting up centers, doing different joint ventures with other doctors. And in a year or two, I was director of operations for that company. And lo and behold, after 3 years, the federal government decided that doctors can't own stuff like that. And so our company had to be sold to a bunch of different hospitals, and I lost my job. I knew this was coming, and I knew it was going to happen, so I reinvented myself before I lost my job. So I became a well-known physician practice consultant. I decided to start my own thing. I was kind of rocking and rolling. People knew me. A lot of doctors knew me because we were running these cardiac centers. So I had a lot of connections. I had a lot of tentacles in the community. And I knew based on my conversations with them that they would hire me to help run their practices and make them more profitable for themselves. So I already had the groundswell going for myself. And so I created a consulting company. I got my own business cards and I sent out flyers, and I worked around the clock to establish this consulting business. And I learned federal regulations on reimbursement from Medicare. Like, I literally read the Federal Register. If any of you have ever read a Federal Register, you know what I'm talking about. Federal regulations. I was an expert. I could literally quote from it. And I began presenting, and reimbursement changes had just happened for doctors' offices. So I was an in-need expert. So it wasn't like I reinvented myself to do the same thing. I actually took myself up a notch. I created a pricing strategy. I had contracts. I was helping physicians with their reimbursement. I was doing spreadsheets. I was like making stuff happen. I was making money as a consultant pretty much out of the box because I laid the groundwork with all the doctors I knew. So that job transition, I decided to get into business on my own. And I was well known. I was making more money than I was making before I was laid off and lost that job with that cardiac management company. But I was a little bit like on my own. I didn't love it so much. I like working with a team. I come from a big family. I didn't love it. So at some point I was so busy. I had so many doctors calling me for my services that I started increasing my fees a little bit. And I decided I needed to reach out and work with someone else. So other consultants weren't really that interested in working with me because we were kind of competitors. Eventually, I started working for a local consulting company, and together we built a healthcare niche. And I was able to navigate that, get into that company, create my own path, create a company together with them. And here I was basically at the age of 30, creating a business venture with an accounting firm. And it was a great time in my career. I was able to create and make things happen. And that's what I do. And it was at that time that I realized who I really am. And I need to create and grow and make things happen. It's who I am. And I had a lot of fun there, but I felt like I outgrew the whole thing. And I was pretty much tapped out at the money that I could make. So I took a lot of time to find the right next job for myself. And I wanted to move south. I had made a predictable plan. to move to the southeast so I could have better weather. Because frankly, I don't love winter. I know ladies up north, I just didn't enjoy it. I have a little bit of seasonal affective disorder. Even though I'm active and I was running out in the snow and skiing, I don't love winter. I was raised in the winter, don't love it. So in 1995, I took a new job in Durham, North Carolina, working for a really big national firm, really big. Vice president of network management, six-figure job. I was ready to go. The problem is, a week before I started there, their stock took a nosedive. And my dad's calling me with the house packed, movers on their way, saying you might want to rethink this job. I said, Dad, I've already quit my job here in Pittsburgh. I'm moving. I've got a new job to go to. I'll figure it out. So on to the new job, which lasted less than a year and a half. I lost that job about a year into it. I was, hi Robin, about a year into it, I was transferred from Durham, North Carolina to Baltimore, Maryland. Not where I wanted to live. It was in the middle of winter. Matter of fact, I drove from Durham, North Carolina to Baltimore on my 33rd birthday, crying that my dream job in Durham had ended. I'm driving, crying, this isn't happening to me, feeling victim-y, oh my God. And I was transferred there with two people who reported directly to me. So there was three of us who were transferred to Baltimore, Maryland. And we lasted around 6 months until the company had to basically get rid of all of the excess people. So if you weren't directly touching patients, we were no longer needed. So I knew that job was going to come to an end. They transferred me back to Durham, and they basically told me I had 60 days. I'm scrambling, looking for a new job. I just bought a house in Durham, North Carolina, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to stay in Durham because they actually had a really bad winter, and it wasn't the definition of where I wanted to move south. So the guy who brought me into that company, I'm calling everyone I know, all the headhunters, everyone. And this is 1996 and a half. So at this point, email, yeah, not really much of an internet, some, but it's really still telephones and faxes, mostly telephones. And so I'm calling people, making things happen with phone calls, finally get a headhunter who had placed some friend of mine somewhere, and and I get an opportunity for a job in South Florida. I wasn't sure I was going to move yet, so I navigated a consulting arrangement with this company. So I'm out of a job in Durham, and I'm doing consulting for this company in South Florida. And that worked out for a while. This woman was eager to have my skill set. She was happy to do that because she wasn't sure she needed a full-time person. And also she wanted to try me out. So it worked out great. And I did that for about 6 months. And then things were like, I either had to make a decision to move down there and take the job full-time, or she was going to hire someone else. So I took the job. I moved down to South Florida, took the job. And as you can imagine, here I am having left Pittsburgh, getting transferred to Baltimore, losing that job, now doing consulting, taking a job in Florida. I'm like topsy-turvy. What do I want to do? What's my life look like career-wise, etc.? All I knew is that I wanted to land somewhere where I could get some stability. Well, I get this job in South Florida, and I'm part-time now living in South Florida and half-time in Gainesville because we had a big contract in Gainesville, which is the reason why I got the job, because the folks in Gainesville said, if you hire her, we'll hire your company. The her was me. So I get that job, and I'm traveling back and forth. It's about a hour flight, 5-6 hour drive, which I didn't really do that often. I mostly flew back and forth. And I'm just trying to make shit happen and keep a job. All the while, I'm trying to figure out, where did I go wrong with these two jobs that it's topsy-turvy and nothing stable, and I don't know. It's just wow. I was just trying to keep it all together. So that job in South Florida actually lasted around a year and a half also. And then my boss said to me, we're going to have to sell all these doctor practices and we're going to close shop. What? Oh my God. I didn't get any severance from the job in Durham, North Carolina. They basically gave me 60 days notice and you're out. I wasn't getting any severance from this company. They were basically going to close. And I said, am I going to get any severance or any consideration? No. All right, so I'm looking for a job. I eventually got a job at a local health system, and it was like the perfect job for me. I started my career as a cardiac nurse. I then did physician management, cardiac center management. They were looking for an executive director, which ended up, then I got promoted to be a vice president. It was the perfect job. But I never considered myself a hospital kind of gal. But it was a great job. All my skill sets came together. It stabilized me living in South Florida. And it was a job I had for 5 years. Now, here's the tricky part. There was so much politics in that organization that I didn't know which way to turn to be on whose side of what. And I was given all kinds of piles of crap to sort through in those 5 years. I had a different boss every year. I had physicians pulling me in this way, administrators pulling me in that way. But the bottom line is I loved being responsible for all of the cardiac services of that health system. But because I believe in getting stuff done, I upset a few people in that health system while I was there for that 5 years. And there was a big reorganization. Guess who didn't survive the reorg? You're looking at her. I came back from a big cardiology convention where I was presenting in Vegas. And I knew when I was coming back that I had a meeting with some VP I never met with ever. And I knew I was going to lose my job. I had a lot of friends in high places there and basically telegraphing to me, you're going to get let go. So I got a severance agreement with that place and I had some time to kind of figure it out. Well, at this point, my head was spinning. I didn't really know what to do. So I tried to reinvent myself. Bottom line is I took a sales job as a bridge job and I was at least making some money. But I was scrambling to be any good at that job, scrambling, and kind of trying to pick up some consulting projects and this, that, and the other thing. But I knew that I wanted to get back to my roots, which was physician stuff. So eventually comes a job to be a CEO of a pulmonary and critical care medicine group in Miami that was just coming together. Bottom line is I eventually got that job, but it was a lower paying job than what I had gotten separated from, even though it was a higher title. And I was like, I don't know. But then I thought, if I make a name for myself, if I negotiate a bonus, if I really make things happen, perhaps this could turn out to be something big. Always the optimist. But let me tell you that after 4 years of being there and doing great work, the Medicare regulations changed. And they started looking for a scapegoat. And guess who it was? Me. So the very last day, I was told to meet at a Starbucks with my chairman of the board and my attorney, the attorney who helped me navigate a lot of contracts and negotiations and make things happen. We were meeting at a Starbucks, so I knew it was going to happen. Cleaned up my office the week before. And this just happened to be also the morning that I got my mammography done. I was about 1.5 years late for it. So I got my mammography done and lost my job in the same day. And that mammography was the positive mammogram that started the whole escapade toward my eventual double mastectomy. So I lost that job, positive mammogram, and I started reaching out to everyone I knew under the sun to grab a bridge job, do some consulting, do something. I was hustling because I wanted to stay alive, if you will, in the workplace, and I wanted to make money. Lucky for me, I had a good friend who had a perfect consulting project for me, and I was able to do that for 3 to 4 months while I navigated things and got myself into a much better position with a company that I really admired locally. And that job came together just as my biopsies were coming back positive. So here's the thing. I relentlessly believed there was something better for me, and I relentlessly networked the hell out of each of those situations. And I did not accept going backwards in my career. I went backwards in pay once, but I went for a higher title and a resume builder. So the thing to remember is this: When you have a career misstep, you have to relentlessly believe in yourself, and you have to pick yourself up and present yourself in a way where you have value and you are doing all the wonderful, fantastic things that companies want from you. You have to bounce back. You've got to. Do not backslide. Do not let this be a killer of confidence. Do not let the career missteps, and you know what? I could have been responsible for a couple of them. I told you in the one in the health system, I made some enemies because I thought I was doing the right thing. Could I have navigated differently and played more political savvy? Possibly. That's actually the job where I actually hired my very first coach. And she helped point out some things to me that I was too pig-headed to realize at first. So in the year 2000, I hired my first coach. I've been getting coaching since that year. So for 19 years, I've had at least one coach. Now I actually have 4 coaches. How much help do you need, Mel? I hired a health coach in January because I need help there. And so I believe that if you are going to be successful and navigating the pitfalls of life, and you want to be successful and not have a misstep, be a takeout punch, you've got to get help. I'm as tenacious as probably anyone on the planet Earth. I am resourceful. I am super smart. And I'm a crazy networker. I'm always calling people, reaching out. How you doing? What's going? Matter of fact, I've probably gotten so many people jobs before I got into this work. It was just my gig, my thing. Headhunters called me all the time. I was always pointing people to jobs and headhunters and just kind of like working the phones, so to speak. It was what defined a lot of my success and happiness, actually, in my career. And recruiters used to call me just to check in. What do you know? Who do you know? What's going on? I got a couple of jobs out here. What's going on? Relentless networking. You can never go wrong with networking. What? Is there such a thing as too much networking? I don't think so. But here's the thing. Don't be under the delusion that going to networking events is the same as truly networking on your behalf. So when you go to an association meeting or that sort of thing, like it's kind of a friendly place and everyone's kind of polite. Are you going there with getting people's names and making connections? If you're not, change your strategy. You have to be a relentless networker. You have to. In order to navigate your missteps, you've got to do that. Everyone who's ever worked with me in my career course will tell you it is one of the main things that we speak about over and over. Can I just send them an email? Can I just text? Listen, you pick up the phone. You call people. Oh, look who's called me. I've been missing some phone calls. Make sure that you are connecting with people. It is the gold standard. Hey, Debbie, thanks for that. It is the gold standard of success is knowing people. Who do you know? Who's going on? What's happening? Do not bury your head in the sand after a career misstep. And for those of you who are introverts, I'm going to tell you what. It's no excuse. Reach out and talk to people. You know what? There's a lot of introverts out there who'd love to hear from you. There's extroverts who would be delighted to get a call from you. So here's what I want to do. I want you to imagine right now that someone from 10 years ago in your career reaches out to you today. Debbie Grant, Robin, Bonnie, Diane, Leslie, anyone who's here. I want you to answer for me in the comments. What would happen if someone from 10 years ago in your career reaches out and says, hey, Diane, I've been thinking about you. You know, I'm just exploring career options right now, and I just thought I'd connect with you and see what's going on. Pretend it's a phone call, not just a LinkedIn. LinkedIn gives you an excuse to just go, ooh, I'm just going to connect with them on LinkedIn. If someone called you, Diane, from 10 years ago, how would you feel and what would you do? Go ahead, Diane. Answer my question, please. Hopefully you're still here. And I'd love, love, love to see what your answer is. If Diane's no longer hanging out with me here on Facebook, Debbie or Robin or Bonnie or anyone else who's hanging out here, Please feel free to answer the question. What would happen if someone from 10 years ago in your career reached out to connect and do some networking and wanting to say, hey, what's going on? What's happening? Please feel free to comment below as you're watching this, because I want to have a dialogue with you guys. I'm going to be like real time, like we're on like FaceTime, like talking to each other. What would you do? I connected today with a marathon buddy who's a real estate. Okay, why are I'm like frozen on comments. Okay. I just saw some of them. Hang on, let me see if I would answer the phone and connect. I would definitely talk with them. Absolutely talk to them. Julia, hello, nice to see you. Flattered and have coffee. Absolutely. I would definitely talk with them. I'd pick up the phone and ask them for coffee. Totally. Absolutely. So imagine that you're the person on the other end that is thinking, oh my God, I can't believe it's Diane calling me. I would update and share, Robin, Diane, that literally happened last week. That's freaking awesome. Absolutely. So put yourself in those shoes and say, that's how that person I'm calling is going to treat me. They're going to be like, I'm so glad to hear from you. Human beings love connection. Write that down and make this your point this week. I think if you do my Facebook Lives every week with me, and maybe there's like 45 of them, because I do take a couple of Mondays off, you will see that so many weeks, the thing to do is to reach out and network with others. It is the thing that defined my ongoing success in my career. Make no mistake about it. You got to know people. You got to be able to pick up the phone and say, hey, Ted, what's going on? Hey, I heard la da 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 da. What's happening? So, yes, it is a power perspective shift. Absolutely, Paula with the power perspective shift. Absolutely. When you have confidence and you're brimming with, I'm in charge of my life. I'm in charge. I can pick up the phone. I can call people. I can get shit done. If that's your frame of reference, you're going to be successful. It doesn't matter what knocks you back. You're going to be able to pick your stuff up and take charge. It happened to me when I reached out to my old manager. He was so excited to help me. Absolutely, Debbie. Human beings love connection. Totally, Diane. Kimmy, human beings, absolutely. I had 5 networking luncheons since the beginning of the year. My social calendar is great. Rock on, Robin. I know you're networking and making stuff happen for your dream and what you want to do, and I love that. I always believe in serendipity. Right. So if we take action, Bonnie, if we take action, inspired action, not action out of scarcity and fear and freak out mode, but if we take inspired action, we will be living in flow, which is what serendipity is. We will be living in flow. Be the inspired action taker. And don't let your career missteps take you out. Maybe it's a temporary little sideline, maybe to learn something new or to get some muscles built on some networking strategies to help you build your confidence up to know that you can navigate anything. Here's the big picture for me. I've lost my job 6 times in my career. Bear with me, I'll count the jobs I've had. Let's see, the cardiac nurse, the first cardiac rehab job, the second cardiac rehab job. We won't count the one that I got back because that was like the same. Then it was healthcare with the cardiac management company. Then it was consulting. Then it was the job with Coastal in North Carolina. Then it was the job here in South Florida with IHS. Then it was at the hospital system. Then it was the pulmonary group CEO job. And then it was Sheridan. And then it was Team Health. So I've had 11 jobs in 32 years. 11 jobs in 32 years. Some people would call me a job hopper. I wasn't. Here's my career path. Oh, wait, here's my career path. Woo! That was my career path. And the sound effects were extra, and you didn't even have to pay for that. So here's the thing. The guy who endorsed my hiring in the last job, who was my new boss, was someone I did a JV proposal networking thing with 2 jobs prior. He knew me. He knew my work. He knew my attitude, my aptitude. He had meetings with me. I was in like Flint. When I knew he was my new potential boss, I'm like this. And I said to the recruiter, it was a big executive recruiter, the company paid a lot of money to place me, and I said, oh, I know him. He and I go way back. I think he likes me a lot, so I think this is going to be easy. Go through the paces, interview with 2 doctors, go to corporate headquarters, blah, 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 blah. They offered me the job. What did I do? Kick-ass ladies. What did I do when I pick up the phone to get an offer? What did I do? Hazier, nice to see you. I can't wait to be working with you more. I wrote it down, would love to be able to do it, but I am just so shy and don't want to bother anyone. Hazier, that's why I said, pretend you're the person getting the phone call. How are you going to feel? You're going to feel freaking awesome that someone cared about you to reach out to say hello. The other human beings on the planet are going to feel the exact same way. Proof positive. That's what everyone said here. Debbie Grant 11 times. That's why Mo is here to help you. Yes, I've had 11 jobs. I've lost my job 6 times. I'm proud of that now. Because guess what? Because of that, I can help navigate any career situation. I know the ropes. I've been there. I've played low. I've played medium. I've played sort of this way. I've played super high. I've gotten kicked in the pants, kicked in the teeth, sexual discrimination, passed over for promotions, fired, laid off, reorganized, politically backstabbed. I have got it all done. And I thrived through it all because I know how to pick up the phone and connect with human beings and make shit happen. Hazier, that's part of your personality too, even if you're shy. And I'm glad you're working in my workshop now because we're going to help you leverage your shyness and be the full person that you are inside and not tell yourself that story anymore. So that's what we're going to do. I'm just like reading through the things. Bonnie, I found a job for a nurse that I met in an Italian restaurant on off time because I overheard her conversation. Okay, Bonnie, voyeurism and networking, I guess they can go kind of hand in hand. That's a great story. I love it. I love it. So that's the dealio for this week. Can you give yourself a commitment? 3 calls, 5 calls, maybe 2 a day. That would be 10. If you make 2 phone calls a day, you always need food to network, right? Right, Kimmy? If you make 2 phone calls a day, look at all the connections you've made. Look at all of that activity and action on your behalf. And you're connecting the dots with other people. Perhaps they could use you. Perhaps you know someone that they're looking for. You're making a closer connection. You're rekindling. All of that positive energy is now in your sphere. You have now created the positive energy vibration of all of that. That's where success and goodness and abundance and prosperity emanates from. It doesn't emanate from closing down and being scared and, oh no, and how's this going to affect my life and how will I pay the bills? If you get into that headspace, heart space and soul space, and if you let the traumatic situation dictate how you feel and think about yourself and about others and the world, you're going down. Guaranteed. It's the law. I'm not telling you anything that is guesswork. I'm telling you it's the law. It's the law of the universe, otherwise known by some people as law of attraction. But the law of attraction is the law of universal energy. It's what happens in the universal energetic world which we all live in. So you have a choice. Career misstep to take you down or career misstep to take you up. Exercise some network muscles. Get yourself energized. Connect with fellow human beings. So does connection via LinkedIn? I've connected and requested a call. Should I just call if a number? Yes, make a phone call. Robin, it is the gold of communication, especially now. Look, most of my career was before LinkedIn was really souped up. It was before the internet. It was before text messaging. And I'm going to tell you this. I'm still going to call people. Yeah, I can use an email. I can use text message. I can connect on LinkedIn a little bit. But the gold of communication is the personal voice-to-voice, heart-to-heart connection that you can make on a telephone call. And then, like some of you have mentioned, then that turns into coffee or a meetup or lunch or whatever. And when you meet in person, it's even deeper. We human beings love that. We love the connection. Hi, Kim. I love connecting. It's one of my favorite things. It's one of the reasons why I always stay in touch with coworkers, bosses, vendors, etc. Absolutely. You cannot go wrong. And you know what? Always calling them and say, hey, reaching out to see if you're hearing anything, especially vendors. Vendors like hear everything. They know all that's going on. They're like, into all the little channels of casual, informal information. They're the best to connect with because they know what's going down. Because it's in their best interest if they want to sell to a particular channel to know exactly what's going on, who's the decision maker, what's happening to that company, etc. So vendors are the bomb. As a matter of fact, so many people that I used to work with and connect with in the cardiovascular space, not only was I invited to like great big meetings at wonderful resorts because I was known, but I got to present at conferences and that sort of thing because I connected with vendors. Vendor would have a conversation. I'd be like, oh, this is what we do. And this is our best practice. Like, oh my God, that's so great. Could you present at the next yada, yada, yada conference? We're a sponsor and we'd love to have a speaker like you. Okay. I'd love to present at your conference. I'd love to present at the cardiovascular conference. I'd love to do that. So stay in touch with an amazing amount of people. It's going to help your career in so many ways. And then when you have people rarely call me anymore, people will certainly remember a phone. That's it, Kim. Bingo. You making contact with someone is gold. It is priceless. It is impactful. It is influence. It is everything. Yes, been recruited twice. Right. I've had a lot of career success, a lot of positive visibility because of that. Thank you, Kimmy, for posting the link. So, ladies, a lot of you ladies know my work. You've worked with me. If you're listening to this Facebook Live and you have an issue of a career misstep or backslide, or maybe you've kind of come out kind of halfway whole, if you really want to take your career upward, if you really want to feel freaking awesome, and get yourself to a new level, a level perhaps you've never played at, or a level that you maybe played at 20 years ago. I have so many ladies this week who said to me, I used to make that. I'm like, what happened? Well, this and this. And sometimes a career misstep is actually a family problem, a divorce, a parent who gets ill, and sometimes the career goes sideways because of that. And I've seen that so many times. So let's get you back in business to the level that you're playing to your full contribution and your full awesomeness. I'm just going to click on my light here because it's getting a little dusky out there and I can see that my computer screen is a little bit dark. Hang on, I'm using technology. Let's see. Oh, I didn't even get up from my chair. Mo, do you have a smartphone, a smart home? I do have some things that are connected devices. Yes, I do. Why? Because I believe in leveraging technology. If I could talk to my light to turn it on, now we're talking. Remember the clapper? Clap on, clap off. If you're on the fence about a clarity call, join my idea. The program will change your life. Thank you, Kim. Appreciate the props. Listen, ladies, I'm here to tell you this. All that I've done in my career, all that I've had to be to overcome the things that I've overcome, to succeed not only in spite of them, but because of them, I bring full on in my workshop. Not only that, I have great coaches on my team, great resources and support, and you're going to fly. You're going to fly. If you've wanted to fly and you're too busy like in the quicksand and thinking that life is just that way, I thought that way also. Like I said earlier, I hired my first coach in the year 2000, and she coached me in her little upstairs apartment. She was an opera singer part-time, a coach part-time. I sat in like this little side chair in her living room, and I was kind of like, hi, how are you? This is weird and awkward. So it is weird and awkward to talk to someone brand new and fresh for the first time. I had a woman on a clarity call today. She's like, I've never told all this stuff to anyone ever. I said, you know what? I get that a lot. And here's the thing. I know what I'm looking for to see if I can help you. So I go places, I explore crevices and areas of perhaps doubt or old lingering wounds that I know are probably holding you back. We've all had things that are informing us not thinking the best of ourselves. Thank you, Robin, also. She just turned the light. She can turn. Debbie Grant, you're so funny. Yes, I did turn the light on from my phone. Yes, I have a smart app that allows me to do that. And I'd be happy to turn your career light on as well. Yes, and Robin, thank you very much. The Glorious Mindship is amazing. If you're ready to play full out for who you are at the soul level and who you want to be in the world and what you want to do, if you want to make that contribution and your career just has not been really on track, give us a call. Sometimes I'll take your clarity call. Sometimes with my beautiful career breakthrough strategists, Michelle and Pam, and they're freaking awesome. They've been specially trained by me to make sure that we get to the truth of what's really going on and understand you deeply. And if I can help you in my workshop and it seems like the right fit, we will make that invitation to you. If not, and it happens a lot that it's not, we'll send you another way, another resource, or one of my free resources, or maybe another coach. I've sometimes pointed people toward another coach if there's something that I don't fix that can be fixed by someone else. So that's the deal for this week. Can I get your commitment, ladies? Say yes. How many calls are you going to make this week to network on your behalf? Whether you're already at the top of your success pyramid or not. I've got a couple of calls in already today, and I will have a few more in. I love reaching out to folks. Matter of fact, someone actually reached out to me over the weekend who I used to work with, and I was delighted to hear from her. And it was delightful to hear from her. So that was really nice. Please feel free to comment below on your successes of your networking calls. Just the personal connection. Hey, it felt great to reach out to my old boss, my old colleague. Oh, my old colleague's now VP of something, and they actually have an opportunity for me. Do it. All right, Debbie Grant, she's got 10. All right, book the call now. She will brighten your life. Oh, thanks, Paula. That's so freaking nice of you. I really appreciate that. Paula, I think we got something bigger for you this year. What do you think? Big, 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 big. 2 so far today. Diane's already ahead of things. And Diane, I'm going to connect you with someone you don't even know. So are we going to count that? Let's count that. That'll be a nice connection for the 2 of you ladies. All right. Career missteps. How are they handled? They're handled with networking, relentless networking. And they are handled with you relentlessly not giving up on yourself and knowing there's something more. Here's the other thing. You take that career misstep as the opportunity for you to grow through it and past it. It's muscle building, baby. It's muscle building. So use it for that. Everything that knocks us down is there for us. It is there for us and for our growth. Bonnie, that's great. The real deal. So take it as that. Everything's a lesson. It might not seem like it. We want to play victim. We want to feel bad about ourselves. I got to tell you, hey, Debbie, sure, give me a call. I'll be like, hello, Debbie. Committing to 3, my magic number for my family, my car, for my career, myself. Keep the momentum going. Absolutely, Robin. Awesome. Chloe, hey, decided to attend a writers festival to build my network. Thanks. Hey, Chloe, go to the networking festival, but get names and appointments. Get names, phone numbers, and appointments. Get yourself loaded up with people that you can follow up afterwards. Be the relentless networker. The door closes because another doorway is waiting. Indeed. We got all this wisdom flying around. Ladies, it is so much fun to spend time with you on Motivational Monday Facebook Lives. It's like one of my favorite times of the entire week. You may not have noticed, but I have a brand new, beautiful gift for you every Saturday. Every Saturday, I am sending you out my new podcast episode. Please listen to this one that I sent out on Saturday, or you can go to my website and just go to the link that I sent today, this morning. There's a beautiful podcast, episode on this topic if you want some more inspiration on this topic. And you can go to iTunes and type in Bring Your Soul to Work or Coach Mo, and you'll see my podcast, all the episodes I have there. And I am releasing on Saturday a very beautiful client interview that's really special and special to my heart, like all my client interviews are. It's going to be a lot of fun to listen to, very inspirational. So keep watching your mailbox. Weekend motivation on Saturday, Monday motivation on Monday, and then whenever else the mood strikes me, I may be motivating you every day of the week. I don't know. So awesome when you're handling house chores. Yeah, thank you, Chloe. Absolutely. Listen to some motivation. Get yourself rocking and rolling. Take some notes, and please, no matter when you listen to me or what you listen from me, take an action out of that. I'd like to have you feel better. I like to pump you up. But what I really like to do is have you take inspired action. That's the beautiful thing, because we have to carry water and chop wood in the real world. We do it before our enlightenment, and we do it after our enlightenment. So go ahead and make your phone calls this week. Have a great time with that. This is Coach Mo Fall. You can find me at mofall.com and everywhere on social media, at Coach Mo, at Coach Mo Fall. Find me everywhere. Find inspiration. Way to go, Hazer. All right. I am delighted to hear that you're already making calls. Already things are happening. You're feeling better about yourself. You're feeling inspired. You're feeling on track. That's the beautiful thing. That's what we do. And I am delighted to have you do that. Determined to keep my energy levels buzzing. Bzzz. All right. Ladies, love you so much. Have a fantastic week. Let me know how the networking calls are going, because I love this stuff. And make things really happen for you, because your life is precious. Your soul deserves to shine as brightly as you can possibly make it. So go out and do that for yourself. Have a fantastic week. This is your coach, Coach Mo. See you next time.